Farms in deep red Texas are shut down, and Donald Trump is the reason. Now, as you know, Donald Trump has shifted ICE from focusing on criminal immigrants to going after easier targets such as job sites to pump his numbers up. But farms are hurting because of this, as many of their workers are either being deported or not showing up for fear of being caught up in these raids.
Okay, it's fine. We're just gonna burn the fucking crops. Fuck it. Let everybody starve.
Jerry Spencer turned to unemployed Americans, but says after 2 weeks, most couldn't cope.
The farmer says, start over here and end over here. And that was the extent of their instructions. With the American workers, they all had to be taught all this and separate. And in addition to the fact that their bodies just were not built for it.
But folks, these are alarm bells ringing for the entire United States, and our government is not listening. Overnight, multiple farms in the state of Texas completely shut down. And the reason for this shutdown was because they have lost almost 100% of their workforce.
Texas is now reporting that 28% of the farm workers are not showing up for fear of deportation. How are those eggs?
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge.
This is breaking news. Texas farmers are sounding the alarm on this tariff war.
News out of Texas, and if this is happening in Texas, this is happening elsewhere. I'll put the link to the article in the description. Multiple farms are shutting down due to lack of workers because the entire workforce has basically fled and is in hiding and not showing up for work. Crops are being left to die in the Texas heat. Livestock is being untended to, unwatered, and unfed. There's just no one to do the work. So this is going to lead to potential food shortages, because I'm sure this is happening across the country. Most farm workers are questionably documented. No one else is willing to do the work. This is going to lead to shortages, and inflation is going to go back up as we're going to have to import food from outside.
Yo, Texas farmers are getting the FAFO moment of their lives, actually. Their farms are getting bankrupt. They're closing their farms overnight because of shortage of labor. Which kind of shortage of labor? It turns out they depended 100%, nearly 100% of their farm labor was coming from illegal, undocumented immigrants. Well, what did they do? They went ahead and chanted "Make America Great Again," waving them red flags, wearing them MAGA hats, supporting the America First movement, yet they went ahead and voted against their best interest. Well, this is what you get when you vote, for racism. This is what you get when you vote for hatred. Now, Texas farmers are shutting down their farms. Some of them are even burning their crops, realizing that voting for hatred is the cost that is making their farms to go bankrupt. I'm your presenter, Joel Mugisha. Hit that like button if you're new, subscribe to the channel, and let's keep the conversation going down below in the comments. Let's take a look. I'll be back.
Farms in deep red Texas are shut down, and Donald Trump is the reason. Now, as you know, Donald Trump has shifted ICE from focusing on criminal immigrants to going after easier targets such as job sites to pump his numbers up. But farms are hurting because of this, as many of their workers are either being deported or not showing up for fear of being caught up in these raids. And because of this, they're essentially shut down and no work can be done. Just take a listen to one farmer.
3 weeks it started to slow, but this last week or so has been huge. That's when it's like 0 people wanting to come out. And
yeah, 0 people going to work the farms. And while yes, these farmers are in the find out phase, we're all going to be in it, because they're talking that our food supply is going to be shut down or have major interruptions. And it's not just Texas, it's California and Washington. We are finding out that yes, immigrants do help the American economy. Immigrants are part of the American fabric. We just didn't realize it till it was too late.
This is for all the Texas farmers in deep Texas who are shutting down their farms because of Donald Trump's immigration policies. You got what you vote for, man. I know we're all going to suffer and it sucks. But, you know, we tried to warn you fuckers. You're so fucking stupid, and you follow him like it's a fucking cult. Now look at yourself. You're filing for bankruptcy. You're closing down farms. You don't have anybody to work to grow the crop anymore because you voted for a fucking felon. I tell you what, if you vote Republican in 2026, everybody in Texas is just going to come find you and bitch slap you. Because it's stupid. They all follow Trump. It's a fucking cult. Every fucking Republican. It's a fucking cult. Vote blue. Be good.
So this is news out of Texas. But folks, these are alarm bells ringing for the entire United States. And our government is not listening. Overnight, multiple farms in the state of Texas completely shut down. And the reason for this shutdown was because they have lost almost 100% of their workforce. Now, we know this is the result of the immigration raids and stricter enforcement, but the ripple effect is going to be felt all the way across this country. Now, you've got crops that are rotting in the fields. You have livestock that is not being attended to at all. And that takes a lot of personnel. And we're talking, so now we're getting every area of food to include meat. And the communities that surround these farms, those businesses and those people who depend on the income from these farms, it's creating disasters for small communities in Texas. Now, this is not stopping at Texas farms. This is going to end up all the way across America, especially in the breadbasket, the middle of the nation, because they have tons of immigrant help. But folks, the alarm bells are ringing. Your food on your plate is being affected. So you got to think about it. It won't be soon until either prices go ridiculously high or you just won't have any food to buy.
This is breaking news. Texas farmers are sounding the alarm on this tariff war. And in more breaking news, nobody cares. Yeah, I don't know if it's just me or maybe it's some of you too, but as far as farmers sounding the alarm, I don't care. I have to admit, I don't care at all, because the last time Donald Trump was president, 100,000 farmers across the country lost their farms. Yeah. So overwhelmingly, farmers voted for this man again, knowing full well of his history the last time he was president. So from me to you, farmers, I don't care. I don't care how bad things get for you. I don't care if you lose your farm. I don't care if you, I don't care. At least I don't care to hear about it. I really don't. Because this is exactly what you voted for. And you're going to get what you voted for. You're going to get 4 more years of Donald Trump not giving a damn about farmers whatsoever. So, enjoy.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms, it's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know. And you don't even need to wait for their response. They just need to know what's happening. And this is part of my line of work. I deal with commercial farmers, including these small farmers, as clients, and I cannot tell you how this is the beginning of the complete collapse of our economy under this Project 2025 administration that doesn't know what they're doing. You talk about the immediate shuttering of farms, because this is actually what's happening with the food, with the harvests that are lying there completely rotting. That is a loss of food to local food distributors, local grocery stores, local restaurants, hospitals. They sell their harvests, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have social security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities. You've got trucking companies that are hired to haul the produce from the farms to the packaging plants. You've got packaging plants who wash the vegetables, grade the vegetables, pack the vegetables, whose sales are going to plummet. Now you're going to have other industries who don't employ either migrant workers or H-2A workers who are going to have layoffs. This is all under Republican leadership, not just from the White House, but from the Republicans that were elected in the state of Texas. And if you think this is going to stop at Texas, you've got another thing coming. And you want to know which farms are going to be impacted further down the road? They're going to be safe for now. There's a small percentage of farmers who are actually Democrats, and they understand how important it is to protect their employees, take care of their employees. Those employees who feel safe will keep showing up for work because they know the owners have their backs, which says something about these other farms where the employees are like, I'm too scared to show up. Let me add this final thing. This is going to impact farmers. They're at risk of going out of business. Who's going to jump in? The federal government, to compensate them with our tax dollars. So now our tax dollars is going to be used to cover the bullshit leadership of this administration on top of the overwhelming increasing tax dollars being used by this administration to scare, to deport, to imprison people with brown skin. Like, our tax dollars are not helping everyday Americans at all. And this is just the beginning under Republican leadership. Share this video.
And some articles that caught my eye were out of Texas. And if you haven't read these yourself, you want to. Hispanic workers are not showing up in the fields due to what? ICE raids. And I was glad to see ICE is in Texas. I mean, the raids are at such a level, farms are just shutting down at a really high level. Being in California, I was glad to see we're not alone in this area. The reality of this impact financially going forward is huge. I did a series of videos a long time ago. The impact this is going to have longer term on our economy, it's horrendous. You know, we have Trump, while campaigning, saying just going after hardened criminals. Well, we saw how that played out. He lied to us. He deceived us. And going after any and everybody brown skin. Here recently, he was going to give a bit of reprieve. That lasted for what, 5 days? And then again, we have here, what, in Oxnard, them chasing after Hispanic workers. Let's call it what it is. It's a genocide. They're going after people with brown skin. When you take out Hispanic folks, these laborers, and the hotel industry, construction, the restaurant, farming, etc., from an economic standpoint, that's going to be a disaster. Crops don't pick themselves. Dishes don't clean themselves. But yet they're hell-bent on one thing. They want these folks out of our society. And secondly, these ICE folks, it's a head count thing. DHS is upside down, what, $1 billion right now and more? These ICE guys running around, they have never in their life made this much money. And these bounty hunters. And this is a privatization situation that these poor souls getting rounded up. It's just disgusting. So what do we do? What do we do? We continue to attend peaceful protest rallies. We go to town halls. In the midterms, we turn out in huge record numbers and vote these people out. We keep showing up between now and then and turn out in record numbers.
All right, guys, there you have it. Actually, as we have seen in the videos that I compiled for you, this is really sad. This is getting out of hand. This is going to affect a lot of people in terms of food shortages, not just the way it's affecting the farmers, because a lot of people in the states actually depend on these farmers to get agricultural crops, to get these groceries in the country, cheap groceries that are not imported, from outside. But on the other hand, again, people told you so. What I don't really get with these MAGA farmers is the way that they all supported, voting against their best interest, knowing that 100%, 60%, 70%, most of them, it's 60% and above of the farm labor was actually comprised by illegal immigrants. What businessman goes ahead and votes against their best interest? Really, what did you think? The problem with these MAGA farmers is that, they supported an America First movement. They supported, making America great again. That for them meant actually kicking out the same very people that were helping them make money, the same very people that were running the economy, the same very people that were keeping their farms afloat. How do you do that to yourself? You need to have such a deep hatred within you. You need to have some kind of delusion within you to do that against your business, leave alone, hating somebody. Because even a shrewd businessman, a smart businessman, may not like you as an employee, but if you're doing good for him, if you're making him money, if you're making him good money, they're going to keep you around, They might not raise your salary, they might not treat you good, but they're going to keep you around, And this is what I don't get with these MAGA farmers, because it has to be a deeper hatred within you that actually, pushed you to vote against your best interest, that pushed you to vote against your firms, that pushed you actually, to go against your own survival, your own self-sustenance. Now, a lot of these farmers voted for exactly this. They voted for hatred. They voted for racism. They did not want actually to see people of color in the country. They did not want to see, black and brown communities around them. They wanted them kicked out. They wanted them, deported, but they seemed to forget something. Okay, let me give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they thought that, others who are not working for them would be kicked out of the country, would be deported, while those who are working for them in the firms would be kept around. But now they're finding out that, oh, wait a minute, when the orange man was saying that he was going to deport a lot of illegal immigrants from day one, he was serious, and he did exactly that, and he voted exactly for that. Maybe they did not actually think that it was going to affect them. They thought maybe, oh, the orange man is going to spare us and our workers, but now they're losing their workforce. Texas farmers are losing 100% of their workforce because they have been either deported or they are scared to come to work. And the crops now, and because it's harvest season, we have seen some farmers actually burning them crops, and others, the crops are just rotting in the fields, they are just rotting there. They have nobody to come pick them up. These people have massive and massive farms. They need this cheap labor to survive. So most of them actually have shut down their farms overnight. This is the cost of voting against your best interest. This is the cost of not listening to people when they try to help you, when they try to warn you. You F around, you find out. The only problem is that those who actually did not do the mistake of actually voting against their best interest are going to be affected. Those who are not MAGA, they're going to be affected as much as MAGA is being affected. That is the only problem. And the result of this is that either the cost of, groceries is gonna go up, or there are going to be some food shortages. Let me know your opinion in the comment section below, guys. What do you think about Texas farmers, going bankrupt, shutting down their farms overnight because of voting against their best interest? Keep the conversation going in the comments down below. I'm your presenter, John Mogisha. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing and hit that like button. As always, see you on the next episode.